What's up, guys? What's going on? All right, it took me forever to figure out how to actually start the stream, which is, I think, actually hilarious. Which I still actually don't know if I'm even live. Let's see. What's up, guys? I think we're good. Yeah. All right, hold on. What's up? Hello, everybody. I'm looking, I'm up in the game a little bit here, so got to experiment with the setups, the microphones, the angles. This is my best attempt at being creative, so bear with me. But what's up? What's up, guys? How's everyone doing? We got some setups that we had going on from this morning. We had 3 trades that went fire. I'll go over those in a bit. So before I dive into everything, I am going to be pushing this out. So if you guys want to help me out, share this with your traders. Again, this is a public session. This is for people anybody to learn a bit more about how the markets move, for people to have a proper expectation and understanding. Obviously have a good overview in general, just where the forex market, indice market, metals market, crypto market can go. I've been doing this for a long time, about 9 years now. So my goal is to no fluff, no hype, break down what's going on. I've done about, I think, almost 10,000 hours of live streaming in the last 6 years. So let's get after it, yeah? Let's get after it. So I do have a setup right here, but before I dive into all of that, I do want to pull up what to expect for the week, right? What we can really expect here. So let me make sure that everything's running smooth on the stream. Looks like the quality's good, nothing's dropping. All right. But yeah, how are you guys? How's everyone here? I see we have the chats bumping here. ¿Qué tal, chicos? Un poquito español, claro que sí. I see we have Nigeria in the house. I know you guys are plugging in from obviously super far away, but I know it's late, or really early. So shout out to you for showing up today. Colombia, we got Kevin here. What's up? What's up? Eric Mendez, that's Connecticut's in the house. Joe Ryan, what's up, man? Shout out to all y'all for being on right now. And I love to get some life in this chat. If any questions you guys have, I'm going to definitely check it out. Make sure I'm answering them and diving in there. 3 a.m. in Nigeria. That's amazing. That's some dedication right there. London in the house. It's late out there too, so I already know. All right, let me go ahead and let me move this over. That's not supposed to be over there. So that's great. Let's just go ahead and do that. And then let's slide this over here. And then let's slide this over here. You know what's funny? I've been streaming, trading, since like December of 2017, basically every single day. But never super high production, never multiple monitors. It's always been pretty straightforward, to be honest. It's just like half the time I'm not even showing my face because I just forget. So you guys are seeing live what it's like to up it a little bit. So let's run it up. What's up, Garnett? How's it going? Seattle's in here. Forever a mentor. I was under you and I am. Awesome, man. Well, stay learning. I'm glad that you're still growing every single day as a trader and just putting yourself in the right place. So first and foremost, go ahead and share with me what some of your favorite setups are so far. Maybe some pairs that you're looking at. The coolest thing is this. We have some Australian news. So I'm going to definitely go over some Australian news, some Australian pairs. That way we can see if we have any live setups. But also, we have them back to back. So even if there isn't much going on for this first news event, what it can do is it can set up the next one that follows. So if you guys see this, right, you have 9:30 p.m. Central Time. So in about, what, an hour and 18 minutes, there's the first round of news events. So if the market here isn't giving us the best of ideas, if there's no clean setups, then we'll go ahead and see how it can set up, because an hour after that, we'll have that. So let's do the thing. All right, so I'm finally actually getting to the point of sharing this. It took me forever. I'm in like a ton of chats, so I gotta let the people know. All right. So far today, and I'll go over the dollar stuff later. I'll get to the more urgent things, the things that are gonna happen in a little bit. I'll get to that. I'll tackle on the Australian stuff later. But if we do look at the week as a whole, it's a more mellow week. It's a pretty calm week in the markets. For me, what does that mean? You see how we had some dollar news this morning, no dollar news tomorrow, there's no dollar news on Wednesday, and there's no dollar news on Friday. So usually what that means is it's going to be a lighter forex trading session for me, and as usual, the indices will be popping, and I do those every single day, Monday through Friday. So I do the live streams on those. So this week, I would be paying a lot more attention on indices and what the indice market's doing, the classic buy and sell setups that we have. And that's what I'd keep my eyes on the most, right? Last week, we had some pretty aggressive movements. By the way, if you were on last week's session, if you guys plugged in, you guys crushed it, because we nailed it with so many different setups. So it does pay to show up. So let's dive into those, yeah? All right. So let's start out with some. I already took a look at this a little bit earlier, so I had a couple things that I liked, and I wanna tap in with those things there now. So I'm gonna start here, and one of the things that I do is I like to have watch lists. This just saves me a lot of time. Saves me a ton of time. So I'll have watch lists for everything. And as you can see, I have a watch list just for Australian pairs. So what I'll do is this. And I'll actually, you know what? I'm going to send you guys my list just to make it nice and easy for you. So I'll send you my list of just the Australian pairs. This way, you can add it to your watch list, and whenever you want to just take a look at everything, you can feel free to do that. So here is my Australian pairs watch list. And I'm going to start here with AUDCAD. I'm just going in alphabetical order. Pretty simple. And so what we have here is the following, right? So let's zoom out a little bit. AUDCAD has been bearish. So we fell into a place where we hadn't been here before. And actually, I'm not about this. I had this these charts, this color scheme, literally just for videos. I guess it looks a lot better, and some pointers that Nance gave me here. But looking at the market on the white background, that's just the play for me. That's just how it is. So, all right. So let's dive into it here. Let me close a couple things because this is definitely a little slow. All right, cool. There we go. So looking at AUDCAD on the daily, you guys can see that we dropped down a little bit here to fill a little bit of this imbalance. So market's been pulling back pretty well. Today, the market definitely dipped lower just to come right back down. So let's take a look at how the market's been moving now. And we've had a very bearish structure. The market's trending to the downside over and over and over again. And what I see now is two different things, right? There's two things. First and foremost, we had price action from Friday. So we see Friday the market kind of slowly worked its way higher, going above these retail, this resistance, typical area for liquidity to build up from retail sellers. We see price sweep these highs, and then we see a massive imbalance. And the one thing that's interesting to me is that when we do go and work our way down, we don't necessarily get a lower low. And so this is my take on things. For me, structure isn't about, it's not about whether price goes below. It's about, does price find stability there, right? Is price actually trading there? Is there exchange of money? And when I look at this, to be honest, price isn't even here for very long, right? At all. Like, it's just, you see it there, but what is it really doing? Price goes below there, not to, confirm that sellers are owning the movement. It's just to lure buyers out and trap sellers in. So when I see something like this, this shows me that sellers are losing momentum, and now we're even starting to see a reaccumulation. So when we see it like this, we actually had a nice little push down here with that news event before the market started moving its way up. So more than anything, I do think we can see the market work its way higher. Not the best idea. There might be better positions here. All right, so we'll take a look at it like that. All right, so from here, we can move forward. Now, some of you are looking at maybe possible sell scenarios up here with AUDCAD. We saw it kind of slowly work its way higher, so we can take another look somewhere else as well. All right, so let's do this here. Let me see if I can twist this a little bit. It's not working out very well. All right, so from here, let's go to the next pair. AUDCHF. Is there a good setup here? Remember, guys, what we're looking for is pretty simple, right? We look to see, is there liquidity? Do we know what structure is at? Where is there big money that is influencing the market? If I look at this right now, I don't really see much. There's a lot of resistance over here, so we could definitely see price sweep the highs to do something over there. You see more of the same in this area. There's no clear move to the downside that liquidates anything, so very choppy for AUDCHF. We're gonna move on pretty quickly there. From here, and then we have AUDJPY. Now if I zoom out a little bit, we can definitely see that AUDJPY was working its way down, lost a ton of momentum, and just kind of came right back up. So same thing here with AUDJPY. Heavy moves down from Wednesday. So could there be opportunities here? Could we have any sells? And the market's been moving sideways so much. Again, no super clear ideas, except for what's happened here on the lower time frame. So this is kind of interesting. This is actually kind of interesting. You have tons of equal lows here, support, lots of consolidation. So not only were a lot of buyers entering here around 96.30, but you also just had a ton of sellers around 96.42. And we just got above these highs. And if you notice, first, the market sweeps the lows. Let's change that. Sweeps these lows, and then right now we're seeing price trade above these previous highs. So this is a very intentional move to the downside. Could this be preparing itself for a push higher? Maybe it sweeps these lows and then it moves a little bit higher. So let's see if I can get y'all over here. You know what? I'm gonna switch up this angle real quick. All right, what's up? All right, y'all here, y'all with me right now. Cool. So we'll do this instead. Y'all get the front-facing camera. So I think we could have some setups over here on AUDJPY. I'm gonna look at the rest of it. Let's see how other things are correlating. Let's see how other things are moving before we make a final decision. We have AUDNZD. Now this actually triggered my entry, and it is playing off pretty well. So I had an entry here with AUDNZD from Friday, and Friday we saw a nice push to the downside, or Thursday Asian session sweeps the lows and then gives us these higher highs. And I was actually waiting for an entry here during Asian session, which is what we're getting right now. So I'm curious to see where we go. Now I did have the market here pushing down about 15, 16 pips or so. And we already saw a pretty nice reaction from here. And the market has moved those 16 pips. So, the interesting thing is this. It already did the move. It already did the move. So I don't want to get you guys in if we already got the reversal from this sell-off. So here we intentionally move the price. Price comes down. So here we see the exchange of sellers to buyers. Re-entries here on this would be actually guessing, because it already gave me the minimum reversal. It doesn't really owe us much bigger movement. It could keep going for sure, and we even have these equal highs over here. So the timing of this is unfortunate because, one, I wasn't really paying attention to this, but what we do see is that we also have liquidity here. So maybe. All right. My bad. Let's see here. Maybe what we get happening here is the following. We saw price work its way down, spike down. We may have the market sweep these lows and then run one more time. That's definitely a possibility. So I still like the entry. But I will say that the quality of his setup goes from being like an A setup to a B. So we do lose a little bit of the probability. Like this trade right here, this one played out nice. If you were on the live stream from New York session, I showed you this one. Right now, I could see it sweep the lows, get back to this entry basically, and then we may see a rally. However, the original trade, which is the mitigation of this massive sell-off, this already happened. What's up, Cali? I see y'all. 6 trades. What's good? Guys, can you give the live stream a thumbs up? I appreciate you. Chalet? Don't know how to pronounce your name. What's up, Patrick? Can you give me an update on GU and gold? I definitely will give you guys an update on GU and gold. Those are currently both active and running. I'll go over that in a little bit. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to zoom out a little bit. going to take an impartial look at this. So originally, you know, this is a fractal of a fractal of a fractal setup. If you guys have been plugging in, we've been actually getting really nice entries on AUDNZD, and transparently, I've missed every single one of them. Like every single time, because I'm not really trading during this time, especially like the start of the Asian session. Like I'm just not looking at the market. So the first entry here was fire. The second entry here barely played out, but it did go. And then the third one is in motion. So this would be the fourth one. And something about 4 setups this clean playing back to back to back. I don't know. I feel like it's a little too good to be true. You know what I'm saying? Just got some people from Germany in here. Y'all still up late for no reason. What's up, Yama Gaines? What's good, brother? All right, so if I look at this and we look at the higher time frames, what do we have? Right, what does the market really show us? The last candle we got on the daily was a pretty bearish candle. Not much I can do with that. One of the things that I say is if you don't have clarity, then you don't really have an entry. Right now, this would be a liquidity capture, but how much of a mitigation would it really be? So let's look at this. Here we sweep the low. I mean, technically, yeah. I could even, here is where we have the market clear the low for the last time and go right there. So this would be the potential final entry here. This is a very, very small stop loss. So the risk reward may be very good. About an 8-to-1. Gotta love those 8-to-1s. Got to. So here's the setup on AUDNZD. Here's what I'm gonna do. Right. Here's what I'm gonna do. Since the risk reward is so good, I'm going to risk less so that the equivalent is a 4 RR for me than what I would normally do. So here's AUDNZD. Don't make any silly mistakes. Risk normally. Again, this is not my favorite setup, so I would give this a B- maybe. The original one, which is playing off of this one, was good. We already got the initial reversal. Now it's a secondary entry, so I'm risking less on this for sure. All right. Remember, we have Australian news in an hour. Then we have AUDUSD. AUDUSD over here. And what we saw happen basically was Friday's London session basically cleared these highs before the market then came crashing down. So we had a pretty nice move over here. And we took the sell. We took the sell here. So I'll show you guys the setup that we took here. So here was the sweep to the upside. Took out some sellers. And so we were taking the mitigation of this massive buy position over here. So we sold this off for NFP, and we caught this entire move down. So now, what can we see? We are seeing how the market did clear these highs before then making that last push. Sells over here look good. However, if we compare this to other pairs, other correlating pairs, they do look a lot different. The AUDNZD on other brokerage chart did not sweep. Oh, okay. Actually, thank you for reminding me that. Because I didn't realize I had an FXCM chart up. If you look at the market from this position, these charts look way different. So I appreciate you actually for pointing that out. So what that means is that spike didn't actually happen. That's the broker just influencing price action, behavior, etc. And so if we notice, you can see AUDNZD work its way down here as it works its way higher. We do have quite a bit of liquidity. So there are equal lows right here that the market can definitely sweep to fill some imbalances. Maybe we get a reversal. So appreciate you for double checking. We spoke about that last time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna delete this this text. And then what I'm gonna do is, guys, I'm staying out of AUDNZD. We don't need this trade. That's something you need to understand that will help you so much as a trader, is you don't need any single trade. There are so many good opportunities. You don't need it. Right? We are so massively abundant with the setups that we do not need one specific entry, especially if we start to lose clarity with it. So good looks there. Appreciate it. We're gonna move on. I'm deleting AUDNZD. I don't even need to deal with it. So all right, what do we have going on now, right? AUDUSD, Friday London session, finally takes out these highs, mitigates this. NFP gives us an amazing sell-off. Now this is one of the things that we need to realize, right? This movement here is a dollar-based push down. The dollar moved this down. So when we see moves like this, influential movement, you see orchestrated movement, what makes these moves happen is actually usually gives you a clue of when they could happen again and what pair. So is it the dollar that influenced this, or is it Australian dollar? This was a dollar influenced movement. So for example, if I were to compare AUDUSD to another correlated asset, like for example, GU. GU is a good example. So look at this, right? So GU, we're actively in a buy right now with GU. GU we went crazy with, absolutely crazy with last week. Took the sell. The buy that I talked about this buy setup on this live stream, this public live stream, for like 3 or 4 weeks. So that just like barely kissed the entry, the zone, and then just full sent it. So if we take a look at this, right, and we're looking at how the market is moving along. I am actively in a buy right now with GU. Our entry was very, very, very precise. I'm not quite at break even yet. I have my certain rule for it, but we're getting there. And when we review this and we see, okay, how far did the market go down? Right, if we look at both, you know, GU, AUDUSD, whenever I'm going to take a sell or a buy and they have very similar structure, I want to compare the way in which they're moving. So, and let me know if you're in this GU buy with me. Let me know in the chat. But as I see this, the market drop like crazy on GU. If I compare this to the other one, to AU, it's not quite the same. Here was the previous low. On the right side you have GBPUSD. On the left side you have AUDUSD. So the previous lows. GU drops so much more aggressively than AUDUSD. That it was just so. This is just so much more significant. So as of right now, this could change, but as of right now, it seems like GU is going to be a bit slower to work its way to these areas. And I would rather take a sell on whichever one of these gets to this zone last. because that means it has the least aggressive bullish pressure. So I'm gonna keep my eye out on these potential sells. Now the Australian news events that are gonna happen here, more than likely, it's not gonna push it up. Now GU is just one example. That's not the example, right? NZD USD is a much better correlating pair than GU. But the reality is that dollar pairs overall have some sort of correlating behavior. So if we look at these two, NZD USD left equal highs, so we can kind of get a good look at how everything moves. But if you look at, guys, if you look at this, NU looks, almost the same. You have EU having a way harder time working its way up. GU a bit better, but not so much better. So again, there's a couple of things to look at when you're deciding to make a move. Even, for example, like gold and metals. These are all pairs that are correlated with the dollar. But for the setup that happens, that can happen now, as you guys are noticing, there's not a lot going on. There's really not. So if I pull up the rest of the Australian pairs, like EURAUD and GBPAUD, let's see if we have anything over here. You caught the sell Friday, NFP on EU and GU. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So EURAUD here has been bullish. Right? We're getting higher highs, higher lows. Recently, EURAUD lost some steam, and the market's been trading a bit sideways. And then if we zoom in a little bit more, just a little bit more, a couple different things that went on over here. First, we had EURAUD kind of slowly but surely was working its way down. A little push to the downside before it started to come up again. Okay. So we have some equal highs over here with EURAUD. And this is why I don't really even trade Asian session pairs. It's just, there's never really that great of setups. Here the market is moving sideways, push down, imbalance. There's a lot of imbalance. That, I know that much. But do you see a textbook setup here? No. GBPAUD, more bearish, way more bearish. And it's actually right in the zone right now. So if we look at GBPAUD, we can see here from Friday, it made a nice push to the downside. So let's go look at this here. Let's look at this. Let's see what happened on Friday, and let's see if we have some interesting trading. So Friday, GBPAUD for NFP actually pushes GBPAUD just a little bit before GBPAUD just goes absolutely bullish. Like it really fully sends it. And here we go. So this is where we're at right now. GBP, AUD. So it's in the zone where the market could definitely reverse, and it actually already gave it a pretty decent reversal today, about a 15 pip push to the upside. Now, if we look, the movement downwards was about 14. So we actually already got what we call mitigation, where the sell-off here, what drove price down, there's open sells. This money needs to come in to eliminate, to move the market. So we got the reversal from that here a couple hours ago, actually like 40 minutes ago, right at the beginning of the stream. And that's what we have happening right now. So there actually was a setup with GBP AUD. Interesting. And there's quite a bit of liquidity here. You can see that this is home for a lot of retail sells. You can tell by the sheep right here. So I would not be shocked if we see these highs cleared here. Now what's interesting is we had something similar, right, with EURAUD too, right? EURAUD saw it work its way down before it pushed upwards. So yeah, EA, GA, really similar. It's starting to play off of here pretty well. I wouldn't look for re-entries. To me, this already happened, like it's already on its way. So unless I was in this risk-free, I wouldn't re-enter this position. But it's looking good. GA, cool. So after all that time, you're probably thinking, there's nothing to do here. And you're right. Sometimes the market doesn't really give you the best setups. Sometimes the news events aren't meant to be traded in that moment. Sometimes they're meant to set up new moments. So what we do have is we do have this one now. We have AUDJPY. Now, I have one more thing that we can consider. This is a yen pair. So could it be that multiple yen pairs did have a similar setup? Right, AUDJPY. Maybe CAD-JPY has something similar. Not really. And if you notice, that spike down that you see with AUDJPY, you don't really see it anywhere else, right? None of these other pairs are doing that. One thing that I want you guys to keep in mind, and this is a little random, but GBPJPY has been moving sideways for a bit. This squeeze right here, for all of New York session, all of Asian session, yeah, you better believe that's gonna be making some movement here soon. Oh yeah. I would not be shocked if London session gives us some nice plays. Would not be shocked whatsoever. So from here we had a lot of equal sideways movement on GBPJPY. Then we finally started to see the market go up before it comes back down. If you ask me, this push to the upside is highly intentional. This was to lure in buyers and trap sellers. Right there. Lured them in. Cleared out these sellers first. Lured in buyers. I think we can definitely see some possible sells from this area with GBPJPY. Totally went in a different direction. I'm going to go back to AUDJPY here. But this looks pretty decent. Like, if I'm looking at pound pairs, we could have a situation here where GJ plays out pretty nicely. And so where would I want to participate with a move like this? Looking at how the market's moving, we saw quite a bit of support over here in the past, resistance over here as well. So I think somewhere over here, I'd like to take a setup here on a sell. GBPJPY. The downside to something like this is, and this is a big part of my edge, but I do keep in mind how correlated pairs are moving in relation to one another. So, you know, for example, EURAUD, right? These are a lot tighter. This is pulling back. The drop wasn't as aggressive. You know, this is currently sitting at right around a 38.2 for EURAUD. GBPJPY, if we take a look at this, this is currently sitting a bit further down, right? This is not even at a 23.6, let alone a 38.2. So the pullback is a lot slower. So I do lean more towards GBPJPY. So here's a 3-to-1 setup on GJ. I like it. Here you guys have it, GBPJPY. It's like a 3R, it's a sell. If someone wants to keep track of everything I'm sending here and then like put it all in one text, that'd be sick. I would totally appreciate that. All right, cool. So as you can see, the whole point of why I showed you guys the yen pair, one, it's the time of the day where yen's moving. But two, we noticed that it was the Australian that spiked it down before the market came back up. So this is what drove price down. And not only that, then we've been trading above these highs now for the last hour or so. Why not check what? EJ2? I did. Yeah, I did. There was nothing, they weren't really correlating. So I actually like this AUDJPY. This sends me back to like years ago where I would do live analysis for during the Asian session. Like literally at this time, I'd do it like every day. But yeah, this could be a setup. It's not bad. Now I am gonna double check with a different data feed, just so I don't get wrecked. All right, cool. Yeah, looks good. Looks good. All right, I'm not gonna be live by the time that this is happening, but you guys do have this here, and here's what I would do if I were you. All right, I would make sure that I have my alert, so that when the market gets there, in case you're not paying attention, you know. That's one thing I would be doing. So, okay, we can move on. All right, we tackled on what could happen here in a little bit. What I want to go over now is indices, because I do think we're going to be seeing a lot of indices action. That's the majority of what I trade. And then I'll go over some dollar pairs. We have a little bit of CAD news, tomorrow and on Friday. So I'm going to run through this and see what I can get for y'all. All right, what's up, guys? Nice. Okay. All right, so let's check out some indices, and I'm going to break down what we did today. All right. 6 trade. He's like, yeah, we finally got to the indices. I waited all this time just for this moment. So there were two zones that we liked for NAS buys today. The first one, which was a push to the downside, which liquidated these trending buyers, typical trend line retail buys before the market left an imbalance. So this sell position was open from Friday, all of New York session, Sunday, Asian session, London session, and then we had New York open. Right, New York open worked its way down. We didn't do anything here. We just waited, and the market slowly worked its way down. So here's why I took NASDAQ instead of taking US 30 or instead of taking S&P, anything, right? And let me show you. Okay, so when we looked at US 30, US 30 was also free falling. But what happened was US 30 was just so much more bearish. US 30 had just so much more bear energy. It kept pushing down, and I'll actually go to the 15. It'll look a lot cleaner. And this is how you can leverage structure to your favor. So when you look at this, here's how you know which ones not to take. It's very easy to learn. Here was the low from Friday, right over here. Here's US 30's low. right over here. And then here's NASDAQ's low. Okay. So what were we doing? Like, oh, okay, well here's what's happening. During New York Open, post New York Open, market's slowly working its way down. Great. Meanwhile, US 30 is not so slowly working its way down. US 30 is absolutely falling off of a cliff. So then by the time that NASDAQ starts to work its way down, by the time it's 9 a.m. Central Time, so right around that news event, US 30 aggressively just falls, and it actually goes right to this previous low. Meanwhile, NASDAQ's still trading up here. So what does that tell me? That tells me that there's way more bearish energy, way more sellers for US 30 than there is NAS. What does that also tell me? That tells me that buys have a much better opportunity. Bears are much stronger in US 30 than NAS. So when this perfectly lines up with our zone and US 30 is way down here already. So US 30 is already just falling off a cliff inside of some imbalance. And it's just playing off of the zone where we've seen support before. This gave me the extra confirmation to take the buy and then let it ride. And then we realized, well, NAS is also leading the bullish move, so this will probably keep going even further. So this is where I'm at right now. Right, this is the buy that we took here live. There was over 300 people on the live stream in the morning. Now that is for the members. But this one we took live. This is one of 3 trades that we took live. So what do we have now? All right. Clearly, NAS is still the bull in between these two. So what does make sense? NAS buys way cleaner, and US 30 sells are way better. So let's do one, and then we'll do the other. So we'll start with NAS. We'll talk about what NAS can be setting up. So we already saw how the market came down, aggressively came back up. But we're not even getting higher highs yet. So could the market be preparing itself to work its way down? Yeah, I think so. So we may have another setup here. We already had this, took care of that. We did our thing there. So if you look at this, what do you see? I see a very intentional move to the downside from right there, right? From right here, we see the market spike down. Clears those lows. Zoom out a little bit. Zoom out a little more. And so again, same thing. Here we see that take care of these, because here's what the market ended up doing. Look at on the 15-minute. It ended up kind of rejecting off of some support. This lures in buyers one more time, then it rips it down before it goes up. So I definitely see some pretty clean buy setups over here on NAS. Again, a lot of this can change. Like the environments can change all the time. NAS isn't always the one that's more bullish. Sometimes it's more bearish. And obviously, like I've been looking at this a ton, so I just naturally see things quickly. And you got to allow yourself to gain that repetition and experience. And also, indices, when the time's right, it moves fast, super fast. So if you don't know your lot sizes very well, allow yourself to, because trading indices and trading forex, the setups are the same, but the speed, the rhythm is different. It is different. You have to be quicker. You have to understand lot sizes better. You have to manage your live setups quickly if you're going to trade small time frame indices. So just a couple of things to keep in mind as you're doing this, right? Now, NAS looks good for buys. And at the moment, if we work our way down to here, by the time we get to the zone, there's a good chance that US30 might be making lower lows again. So we're going to keep an eye on that. So here is NAS. And again, there's two areas that interest me here. But I can't give you with full certainty which one I'm going to be trading until we're closer to New York Open and we have US30 and S&P 500 as reference. So on tomorrow's New York Open live stream, obviously we'll be talking about that. All right, so let me drop here. NAS100. There you go. Appreciate you, Mike. It's a pleasure. All right, so we got S&P. Let's look at US30, right? So US30. Now US30 has been selling off really well. And I was actually surprised that we didn't quite get to this one. And that's why I have a pretty good, I have a hunch that we're gonna see US30 get to this level up here and then sell off. So I am curious on what happens here with US30. As of right now, I do see some lows over here. So we have a little over 8-1 on this one. But to keep it real simple, US30 prior to New York Open, slowly moving its way down. And then New York Open clears the highs, liquidates these retail sellers, massive imbalance, basically no pullback, no rebalancing, no mitigation. It just keeps going down. And this really gives us this lower low, this bearish sentiment. So yeah, these sells are just screaming that they want to be taken. Much appreciated, Mike. You're killing it, bro. I appreciate that. Honestly, last month was my best month ever. It was cool. Like, it was some good stuff. Like last month, ranked number 1 on Darwin X. That was sick. Right, that's for like audited accounts and things like that. So that was dope. You guys will see some interviews and stuff like that in probably sometime in a couple weeks. But yeah, so we've been doing really well. And speaking of which, one of the things that I've definitely learned over the years is kind of how to neutralize your emotions, or how to get back to like a medium. So for example, on an emotional level, and I'll go into US30 in a second, so don't trip. But on an emotional level, we're kind of like this. Where's like the wavy one? I think it's this one, right? Here. All right, so whatever, I'll use this one. So this is what happens. We tend to be sort of like this. Ups and downs on an emotional standpoint. So we'll use this one as kind of like the feelings. But your actions should be more like this. Just neutral. So what you feel, there will be lows, there will be high. Here's winning streaks, right? Winning streaks here, losing streaks here, winning streaks here. You know, all of these things, but the way in which you execute, you want to keep that as a neutral state. So here, right, we have high emotions. Down here we have, we can call them like lower frequency, right? Like lower emotions. Low frequency emotions. But as a trader, whether it's high frequency or low frequency emotions, they're not both good or bad for you. That's kind of just depending on you. And then this is a neutral state. So there is a rhythm of emotions that happen. And what we want is to stay neutral. Neutral flow state. And one of the best ways to do that is basically don't give winning or losing power over what you do. So this is better done when you define what winning, like what is good trading. Good trading isn't winning, good trading isn't losing. Right? Good trading is doing the right things, right? Doing the things that you've built out that's supposed to work for you. So this is kind of this state. So here you'll have, you'll have winning streaks, you'll have like big paydays, big payouts, let's see what else we got. You have high risk reward, right? When you hit those 10 R's, 25 R's, the big ones, high frequency emotions. Here's the other one on the other side, right? You have losing streaks. It's the opposite of everything I just said. Blown accounts. Everyone loves those, right? Right? Blown accounts. Etc. So, or being wrong, that's another big one. That's another one that can really mess with your head. So these are all things that happen. Despite these things, you want to stay here. So your feelings are going to go up and down, but keep this in mind as you're trading. And it's going to be easier when you defined it for yourself that, all right, these things won't make you better, and these things won't make you worse. You do have to make corrections, but a couple things to keep in mind as you're trading. Like, for example, I know January was a really good month. Could that be my new normal? Sure. Right? Could be. Are you late? Yeah, you're about an hour late. But again, if I just keep doing the right things, I might do better. I might do worse. I don't care. Because I already have a general idea. I know based on the data that it works really well. I just need to be very good at doing what's supposed to work really well. And as long as we do that as a collective, we should be good. So let's go back to this. This is the sell idea. Looks pretty good. If we zoom out a little bit, right, structure. Here's why I'm not super, and I might cut this a little bit shorter, but you see how right now we make a lower low here, but we lose momentum and we quickly come right back up. This shows me that the low here wasn't necessarily a lower low. It actually was just to sweep out buyers, lure sellers in, and then the market rallied. Now, overall, we do see that this has been pretty bearish. So I still like sells on US30 over NAS. But the exit, because you know what is interesting is the entries aren't usually the hardest. It's knowing when to cut your exits shorter than usual, or knowing when to let your exits run further than usual. So I'm actually going to cut this a little bit short. And 6.71, you know, I'd say it's still a pretty good risk to reward that we can trade inside of. So here is US30. Who is my designated chart person? Who's stepping up to play? So there's US30. Talk about NAS. So that's what we have right now. What I'm gonna add, and then we'll wrap up here because I went longer than I thought. I always do that. GBPUSD, because we're in the setup right now, so I'll give you guys an update. But GU right now, it's reacted, traversed from our zone really well. We had this thing. This isn't the chart that I want to look at. This is the chart I want to look at. So our entry was very precise. We had very, very, very little drawdown. I think our drawdown was half of a pip. So with spread, it was a perfect entry basically. I think I'm like 3 pips or so away from moving break even on this. Oh yeah, gold too, that's right. So GU has been a little slow to work its way back up. I think other pairs are moving a lot more aggressively. Like all other DXY, other dollar pairs are moving up a bit faster. So, you know, sometimes that means that these take a little bit longer. I can cut my trades a little short, but I'd say GU, if you want, protect that entry. The entry is it was so super precise. So at this point, I'm letting it run, and I'm going for a 4-to-1, so I'm exiting just short of 1.26. Right now, this is up about 1.5 risk reward. So I'm gonna let this run during London session. I sleep during London session, so I'm gonna just let it run. I already have my TP set. Wouldn't be surprised if it hits TP or if it hit break even while I'm sleeping. Would that be considered a demand zone, or what's the reason that was a good entry? Okay, so why did I take this trade? So as I zoomed into what was happening over here, Monday, this is December 11th, 12th, and 13th. We had a buildup of retail sellers, right? We had retail buyers. So there was support building up all in this zone, right over here. Then, and I'm going to zoom in so that you can see how I found this. You know, I see an imbalance. I see a move down. So then I got into some detail. And I noticed that we got a very intentional push down here. So this is Wednesday, December 13th. During New York session, the market starts to work its way down, down, and down, and down. And then suddenly, we get a huge explosive move to the upside. My memory, if I access my memory right now, I don't remember if this is FOMC for sure. I don't remember. But just looking at 1 p.m. Central Time, Chicago time, on a Wednesday, this amount of movement, this looks like an FOMC candle to me. So let's see if my behavioral understanding of these markets is true. And what do you have it? Federal funds rate, FOMC projections, FOMC statement, FOMC press conference. So it was FOMC. It's a pretty big movement. That's a day where a lot of things happen. So what we had was AUDNZD is just wilding right now. All right, so let me get back to you. And this never-ending stream continues. So yeah, AUDNZD right now is taking out those lows. Remember, this wasn't, I'm not taking this, I'm okay. Even if it goes in our favor, I don't care. I'm over it. It's filling some imbalance, clearing some liquidity right before a news event. This is a pretty classic liquidate buyers, lure in sellers before this thing runs. I mean, it could play out, to be honest. So the magical question is this: is it worth risking some type of money? That's really your question. Is it worth it? Do you want to risk some type of money for this trade? That's all you want to know right now. If the answer is yes, I'm willing to risk X amount of money to find out because I think the setup's worth it, do it. If you don't do it. But yeah, it looks like, to me, it looks like we can see some reversals. The market really starts to work its way down around here, like in the zone, in this area right here. You have imbalance being filled at the moment. You can get, there may be some movement. You have a news event in 15 minutes. So if you're looking at this and say, well, this is a lot of liquidity, Mike. This has been squeezing quite a bit. I think we may, you know, clear out these buyers to then liquidate some sellers over here. I understand that. Definitely understand that. So, you know, this is not an official perfect setup for me, but if we're reading between the lines, if we're understanding narrative, it's not a terrible idea. Not a terrible idea. I'm gonna stay out. I've had better trades, but I wouldn't be surprised if this works. So going back to your question about GBPUSD, you had a whole bunch of support. You had a whole bunch of liquidity, retail buyers and buyers and buyers and buyers. And as FOMC is setting up, you see a nice sweep of these lows, and then the market runs. Massive imbalances made. And this is clearly a sell. These sell positions are opened intentionally to wipe out some buyers. So when price comes back to these areas, especially back to where we've seen a lot of strong levels of support, I'm willing to take a buy right there. And I'm buying where I see smart money, that big money. So here we see the push down, market runs, market comes perfectly back into the zone, especially where we saw support prior to that push down. I took the buys right there, and this is why we got the reversal that we got. So hopefully that answers your question, Rousey. And will you look at that? AUDNZD reacting really well right there. Classic. All right, and then we'll wrap this up with gold. Took a gold buy over here. This gold buy was a little bit different. This was not a signature mitigation setup. This was us understanding narrative. So this, almost like what we're seeing with AUDNZD, except that I have a lot more proof for this setup compared to other things. That's the biggest difference, really, is that just to have a lot more time with this. And so here's what happened. We had liquidity building up for retail sells, and we also had liquidity building up for retail buyers. So if you look at this, here's what the market looks like before New York opened. So here's how the market's moving. Take a look at that. So you see downtrend, smaller time frame, market just made a double bottom, some support, classic, right? Also, we had some liquidity here. This is liquidity from a couple weeks back. Because remember, we've been buying this thing, and then we've been, obviously you guys know we've been doing really well, but from here Then what happens next? At this moment, we see gold retail buys get swept, retail buys get swept. Let's get some detail in here. As this happens, most people see this as a break of structure, right? They go, oh look, it's a lower low on the small time frames. However, we don't look at just patterns. We look at motive. Why? Why are these things happening? So, all right, well, what's another 15-minute candle? My market's down here. It's like, all right, maybe something's happening here. What do I see? Market breaks these lows, and here at this point I go to a smaller time frame. Breaks these lows. We trade below here for a while, and the market quickly comes back up. So now I'm thinking, what's the actual intention of this move? Did this come below to give us, stable lower lows, and this is just looking to, trade bearish? Or did this come right back, and now what do we have, right? People trade break and retest. This broke the low, now it's retesting previous levels of support, because support for some, I guess, it turns into resistance or whatever, which, why? I don't know. But that's what's taught. Those are the patterns that are taught. And then what do we get here? Here's where we get these engulfing patterns. Now, I don't trade patterns. I'm understanding why is money moving the way it's moving. So what do I think? I think, you know what? This is textbook break and retest. A lot of people are lured into sells right here. A lot of people are lured into sells. And this is winding up, right, with the dollar news event. News happens, engulfing. I'm like, you know what? This looks like it's luring in tons of sellers. I'm going to take a buy, because this is also building up even more sellers over here. So I'm taking a buy position. And then this leads to where we're at now. So the market went to these lows, maximum sellers are in, then it trades away. And this is where we're at right now. So gold at the moment, I am trading with no risk. I could see us have a re-entry. There was a nice push down before it went up again. So we may get back down over here one more time. It's possible. Silver's ranging a lot. So building up liquidity over here. There's a lot of retail sells in the game, but also a lot of retail buys in the game. So it's kind of on both ends. So when I see something like this, usually what that means is we're going to get like a sweep on both areas, like we may have right now with AUDNZD. So we could get one of these. Could get a play right here. If that happens, that would basically end up taking me out break even, which is fine. And I may have, maybe I have a new setup over here instead. We'll see. I'm gonna be up for a couple more hours. I'll evaluate later. But that's what I got for you guys. That's the breakdown for this week. AUDNZD swept the liquidity, pushing up now. So Australia news, I don't know, I feel like it might be a positive one, and this might rip to the upside. But anyways, guys, much love to y'all. Y'all been here with me for about an hour and 20. So you guys doing your thing here. If you enjoyed, the session, feel free to, subscribe so you know when there's more videos. I tend to do this just like once a week. I do English and Spanish sessions every single day. So if someone invited you to just kind of learn here publicly, see how it is that we do things and how we break things down live, then talk to them. See how you guys can work together so that you get this down. And I'll leave you guys with a couple words with this to set the proper expectations. And it's the following. Let's see here. Cool. So you're probably not gonna start doing what I do right away. The way in which I do it, the speed in which I do it, the efficiency. Trust me, like this is, I don't know, 25,000 hours, maybe more. So it's probably not gonna be like that so fast. But you can be even better, because the only difference really is I just had a head start. That's it. I just had a head start, and I haven't not done this for like 9 years, every single day, like every single day. So don't be in a rush to get the results. I could have been in this trade. I'm not. But the more detached you are on when it happens, and the more you connect to what you're doing every day, the better it's gonna get. All right. So I'm gonna do my best to get more content out here for you guys, just to help you understand more. For me, the rewiring the way you look at yourself, the markets, etc., that's way more important than just the charts and all these things like that. Like, of course, having an edge, having a strategy is amazing, but I genuinely believe that none of that really matters if you don't know how to execute properly. We don't have that discipline. So that being said, guys, I will see you all next Monday. This is going to be ready to roll here as soon as I hit stop. So feel free to share this, watch it over and over again. But yeah, appreciate you guys. And if you want to tap in with me more often, shoot me a message. But peace out, guys.